no heroes out here. Check. Might be the craziest if I ain't the best. Laughing in your face, I'm the joker in the deck. Might be the craziest if I ain't the best. I'm the joker in the deck.
Welcome back for episode 2. Some people won't like this podcast. I'm your host, Luke Manrides again. Welcome back. Got my off-screen guest, Indian tech guy, with me again. So what's up to the people?
What up, people?
We've had an extreme rise in production value between episode 1 and 2. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, the audio was so shit in your old podcast, in your previous episode.
I had to beat Indian tech guy with an inch of his life to make him do the job properly. We've seen a 1,000% increase.
That's not true. You refuse to spend money on good mics.
And then I spent the money.
Yeah.
Well, the Argos card spent the money.
I was just about to say, I was thinking, should I even mention that?
I'll pay it all off by Christmas. Yeah, I tried to record this episode multiple times now, and it got recorded about halfway through twice. The first time, my laptop battery died, and I couldn't have it in with all the charger with all the sound equipment at the same time. And then the second time, I can't remember what happened, but it doesn't matter. We're back to business now. The first episode, we covered some crazy news stories from around the world. Got some interesting feedback from people. People were messaging me directly, and I was like, "Hey, go put this in the comment section. Your thoughts. That's the place to stimulate these discussions." Your feedback to my personal inbox does nothing for me, but I appreciate it though. People said the news story that stuck with them the most from last week was the story from New York about the gentleman making unconsensual love to a recently deceased man on the train. Some people said that story was too much. Other people said it wasn't enough. I don't really know how worse a journey can get, to be honest, Indian tech guy.
Is it going to get worse this episode, you reckon?
No, I don't know. Comparatively, there is some public transport related stuff.
Public transport part wasn't the important part there. That could be overlooked as well.
So, but like, yes, this is just like getting the bus in India. You've never had a bus pass before? Yeah, so if anyone wants to send us in some news stories about any crazy public transport stuff, I've got one to open us up with today. This is from Earl's Court in London, which is quite an upmarket area of London. Watch robbery is very popular in London this season. It is the in crime. Quicker turnover than, selling food, as they say. But to do this kind of job, you need the cardiovascular capabilities to do so. Or you at least need a car. If you're going to rob a man on foot. So, yeah, someone's trying to rob this guy for his watch in the middle of Earl's Court Station. But thankfully for him, he's not doing a very good job of it.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4. We've got millions of free child place holidays available, with 22 kilograms of baggage included. But now, with Jet2 holidays, package holidays you can trust. International protected.
Yeah, so he was using the classic tactic of running in between people, using it as a human shield, putting some space between him and the attacker. That is good self-defense, especially if he's not in a position to fight. The guy didn't seem to even have a weapon, but who knows what's under that trench coat. I think this is the middle of June, where this is from, and he was wearing a trench coat. So, yeah, man. I think he may have just failed his gang initiation. And the bleep test.
You dirty son. Three members of the
I knew you'd enjoy that scream. I knew you'd enjoy his womanly scream. I'm going to rewind that just for the enjoyment of Indian.
Yes, please. That was hilarious.
See, I don't show him some of the content before we do the show because I want his blind reaction to those things.
I was just expecting a manlier reaction, a manlier scream for some reason.
You're man enough to come fail to rob a man in the train station.
That's a crazy. It sounds like a sound effect.
You know what's funny? People are going. If he goes to jail and he has any enemies, and they got a music producer, someone is going to sample his scream, make a rap diss against him, playing his own horrified womanly screams in the background.
We've got millions of free Child Place holidays available, with 22 kilograms of baggage included. But now, with Jet2 Holidays, package holidays you can trust, after national protected.
Knock the easy jet out the frame.
You dirty son. Three members of the public.
He didn't know the backstory.
It gets better as well at the end there.
He's like, you're giving me anxiety. You're giving me an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, mate, you've been done for armed robbery in the street. You should be anxious right now.
Man, we could do a liberal tears compilation with like Trump images and that scream in the background.
This is what you voted for. I don't know.
Nah, actually, no. Actually, no, you know what? This is what they voted for because it's immigrants that sound like women.
Yeah. That's some diversity in the train station, live and direct.
Gender and race.
I was thinking about public transport, and it's so dangerous just on the notion that you're trapped for the most part, in a container with people for a set period of time, whether that's the bus or the train. If you're on a plane, in the West anyway, at the very least, you know someone doesn't have a gun or a knife. But on the train or the bus, it's like horde mode on a computer game, and you've got to survive the waves until the next stop when you can get off. Catching the train in London, horde mode style. Yeah, but I was thinking about calling this segment Public Transport Stress Disorder. Get a new acronym on the go. I've always loved acronyms. Yeah, man. You never know when you're out and about and someone is going to test you and you might have to throw down.
Video that's going viral on Facebook and YouTube. A mother riding a bus on Albany Avenue in Hartford, baby on lap, swearing and yelling and threatening another woman on the bus. It's what happens next that shocks people.
What the hell?
That's crazy. That's insane. Look at that. Who would do that?
She don't even know that person she tossed the baby to?
The video
Because if she did know that person she threw the baby at, that would be perfectly socially acceptable. Hey, yo, catch this fucking baby, I've got beef. In Rambo 4, which is just called Rambo, that was known as one of the most violent films at the time, like, with a really high body count. And I'd heard this before, watching it, so I was excited. I love a gore-fest film. And some of the violence in it was just so cartoonishly over the top. But then when you see videos like this, you think, no, someone's probably done that. In Rambo 4, there's some Burmese soldiers and they're attacking this village and killing all the village people and massacring them for no reason. And they're walking past all these people's huts that they live in and throwing in like Molotovs and setting them on fire. A woman runs out of her hut that's been set on fire with her crying baby, and a soldier decks her, catches the baby, and then American football tosses the baby back into the house fire. If this was on Patreon, I'd play that clip, but we can't afford a copyright strike this early into the channel. Go check it out, Rambo 4. just for that baby toss scene. We're actually not in favour of real baby tossing here at the Some People Won't Like This podcast. We have integrity here.
Yeah, right.
And I have integrity here. I cannot speak for him. I don't know how many babies he's been tossing when he's not been here. I keep an eye on him.
Toss the baby back into the fire.
Shows the mother.
Yeah, I think that's an old Doug Stanhope bit. Shake the baby. Your ex-girlfriend's favourite drinking game.
Throwing her baby across the aisle to a stranger and then running up to the front of the bus and start punching the woman that she had been arguing with. It happened Wednesday morning. The video is 2 minutes long leading up to the fight. The mother is swearing, asking people to take her baby so she can fight the other woman.
Take my baby! Take my baby! You know what though?
It's gangster.
Yeah, come have your baby. Thinking you're some punk ass bitch. You gotta let that baby know. Someone disrespects you on public transport. You should be ready to fight to the death for any reason, for the most minor inconvenience, and throw your potential life and possible freedom away. And that's the kind of message we promote here at Some People Won't Like This podcast.
Disrespecting me for my baby, man. Somebody grab my baby, man.
You fucking disrespect me in front of my baby. You made my baby because I'm punk. She puts out a little tiny baby gun and gives it to the baby. She's like, watch my back. But you know, we're not known for being good marksmen, so the baby just accidentally shoots up the bus. Like, we can't prosecute a baby for a mass shooting. You see some sort of new crime with no legal precedent behind it.
Nah, you can still prosecute a baby for a mass crime.
No, you can't.
Is it? Well, is it? You mean legally? You cannot.
Yeah, you can't prosecute a baby.
Just because they're a baby.
So a baby that does not have the mental wherewithal to stand trial or to conceptually understand what they've done. So there's something called the age of criminal responsibility. So if you do a crime below a certain age, then they just can't put you in jail for it. I can't remember how old the Jamie Bolger killers were. Do you know that famous news story?
Yeah. I have an idea though before we get into that.
Pardon?
I'm going to outsource my criminal empire to babies.
All his mules are babies now. Well, a lot of dealers do that. Not quite babies, but they get young teen juveniles to do it because they'll get a less of a harsh sentence. They'll go to juve and get out in a much quicker time. So that's why they have a lot of the runners do the more riskier stuff. The lower down you are the food chain and the younger you are.
Okay.
So if you watch like The Wire or Top Boy, or if you know any gang members, you know, they got to recruit, and that's how they mold people. Unfortunately, you know, getting them invested at a young age.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 36 now. If a guy comes and asks me to join his gang at 36, I'm like, what are you on about, bro? Unless there's anyone really good recruiting. Okay. We'll go on to our next tale. Okay, this is an update. So, Diddy is going to be back on the streets with us within the next few years. So we all thought he was done dusted. I wouldn't say we personally, like us here at the Some People Won't Like This podcast. But us as a society, we were like, wow, the mountains of things that people are saying. But I was saying, we didn't see any of the sex tapes. And that's what we all want to see the most, really.
You know
like,
what? I'm going to invest in Johnson's & Johnson's baby oil. I think the stock is going to go up in a couple of... Yeah, man.
He does love stocks.
This is not financial advice, by the way. It's...
And in life insurance companies, because I think a few people are going to check out over this within the next couple of years.
Is that going to make life insurance companies lose more money, though? Yeah.
I thought people could be buying more policies because they're going to get whacked for snitching.
Yeah, maybe it's because I don't have a family. I never considered that buying a policy, like, because I'm going to get whacked. I don't spend less money. Like, I'll have more fun if I know I'm going to get whacked.
They base it on your earning capacity. We're like, all right, if you die, we'll give your family 2 Domino's pizzas and 4 toilet rolls. That is the life insurance policy on Indian tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had 5 charges against him, RICO, which is the organised crime charges, and he beat 3 of the charges and were convicted for 2, but the 2 he was convicted of were sort of the lower tier charges, so they think he might be released back onto the streets within the next 2 years. And I can tell you, there's going to be hell to pay for some of us who have been making these jokes while he's been locked away. I'm too low of a profile for him to come to get me. I hope so, anyway. Diddy, I didn't mean any of those jokes. I've always been a great supporter of your work. Us here at the Some People Won't Like This podcast, we love the song I'm Coming Home, which is not even ironic anymore because you are coming home. You can play that. You can probably do some numbers on that song, actually. You don't need marketing tips from me, Diddy. I don't know why I'm giving you marketing tips. But Diddy's first album, or Puff Daddy's he was known at the time, I think it was 1997, No Way Out. That was the only good album that he actually made, and the themes behind that album really tie into all this that's been going on. One of the lead singles, Victory, he's on the run from some sort of Illuminati, organised crime, FBI type people, and they're trying to get him and take him in, and they've got all sort of task forces, and I'm like, you kind of willed this into existence then, didn't you? I was like, this is how he ended, like, shit, the feds are raided. But, you know, as well, people get surprised when rappers actually do what they say, because most rap is fake, and rappers fake, and not you have to be, we don't have to actually be doing the crimes or whatever, but just in terms of some of it, you know, could just be the art element of it. But when someone says, I am a criminal rapper, and I am rapping about the crimes I'm doing, and it comes out they're doing crimes, everyone else surprised? If you go back to some of his earlier albums and you look into the lyrics, this is kind of what was described. Apart from the banging dudes, there was no talk of banging dudes in any of the albums. I would have caught that. But no, there's a song with Biggie about pimps and hoes. The world is filled with pimps and hoes, and I can tell you about all I know. And he's talking about sharing the women with his friends and things of that nature. But I'm like, rap is very much, for the most part, a debaucherous lifestyle. Rap and I'd say somewhat heavy metal, there was that sort of culture of bravado and excess and sort of all that comes along with it. Also as well, they read out various of Cassie's messages in the courtroom about how she loved the orgies. She can't wait till the next orgy. Like, it's really hard to argue about the orgies. Like, when's the next orgy? Like,
that's just her interrupting in the courtroom as well.
She's lost her mind. She got dick PTSD, flashbacks, but in a good way. So it's not PTSD.
No, it is PTSD. Like, soldiers have flashbacks of war. She has flashbacks of the orgies.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense.
Some of them still want to go back to war, even with the PTSD, because they find it hard to adapt into normal life as a civilian. So maybe, if you've been gangbanged by 8 male prostitutes, it's hard to just, go to Wagamama's and just chill out, have a nice meal. Oh, I bet she still has nice meals. I bet she has finer meals than us. So outside the court, people were celebrating Diddy's release by pouring baby oil on each other. I thought, this is like a symbol of the debauchery. People are like, you know what? Diddy won for all the sex freaks out there. All the rappers celebrating that those tanks aren't being released. People are having parties right now across the world, like, Maybe even at Obama's house. It's like, thank God. It's like, that's what got him out of it. He's got a fail safe somewhere. And he's like, this is a picture of Barack Obama, the dick in his mouth. A close-up shot, you can see the vein travelling along the penis, along to the lips of former President Barry O. If you kill me, that picture will be on the cover of every major newspaper around the world. And it becomes like Prison Break, and they've got to kill every single person who has seen the Obama cock and mouth picture. I'm just pitching it. Yes, this is the debauchery Indian tech guy.
I don't know what she gonna do, y'all.
You can pay for school, but you can't buy class. It's funny though. I'm happy they're doing it for my entertainment. Imagine if it turned to an orgy on the steps of the court. They're like, you're all getting charges. Diddy, you're throwing you another charge for influencing this. You're back in court in 6 months. It'd be funny if he paid people to do that through like a proxy company, and he paid some people to go and have a bisexual orgy on the steps of the court. He said, you'll only do 2 years. I'll make your families rich. And he's like, if everyone starts having gay orgies everywhere, won't look so suspicious when I do it. He tries to normalise it in the rap community. He's like, actually, it's very masculine. Fuck another man in the ass. You're taking his manhood from him. Please don't kill me, Diddy. Okay, on to our next tale. Okay. Arkansas woman murdered by same person who murdered her mother 23 years ago. Almost 23 years after an Arkansas mother was murdered by a 16-year-old, the convicted killer allegedly killed her daughter. Deputies from the Crittenden County Sheriff's Office responded to a call on Wednesday at the historical Snowden House project in Horseshoe Lake, where they saw a possible suspect fleeing property. Police located a possible suspect who jumped from an upstairs window and ran to a vehicle that he drove across the yard, got stuck in the yard at the Snowden house. The suspect jumped from the car, ran and jumped into the lake, according to a post. He was observed going under the water and never came back up. So, this dude murdered this woman's mom 23 years prior. She must be the loveliest, kindest, forgiving soul on earth, because she forgave this man and became his friend, and then hired him and gave him a job when he came out of prison. And what this says, most of all, is that she's not a very good judge of character.
Yeah, it's not even got anything to do with that either. Why would you be friends with your mom's murderer? That's...
You know, they say women love red flags. I was like, if there is ever the biggest red flag of all time, is that he's already murdered your mom.
Yeah.
There's no bigger red flag.
At least she's not alive to be disappointed.
She's like, dude, man, come on, bro.
No.
He looks like a very friendly, trusting gentleman.
Yeah. Yeah, let's wait for until he gets out again, give him a job.
You know what?
Let's hire him on the podcast.
So, Indian tech guy would like us to get hold of this man And it'd be interesting if it was something legit and it was like, no, it was the prophecy. I had to kill them both to stop the devil from coming back and taking over Earth. There was a rapper who was tripping out on PCP back in the day. It was called Big Lurch, and he was smoking formaldehyde fluid, PCP. It's not really over here in England, but it's like embalming fluid that they use in corpses at the mortuary to like preserve the corpses. It's like a really strong chemical.
Yeah.
And people, or especially rappers in the 90s, used to dip their cigarettes in it, and it would make you go crazy. And you guys saw in the film Friday, I imagine most of you have seen Friday. There's a scene where Chris Tucker is tripping his balls off and he gets locked up in a chicken coop for the night after being tricked into smoking PCP. The rapper Big Lurch was smoking PCP and he had a psychotic episode and he ate his flatmate. The dead guy's left for that. It's like, hey, we'll eat anything. What you got? He was found running down the street naked, covered in the intestines of his flatmate. When the police got hold of him, they asked him what had happened, and he said he got a message that if he didn't kill or eat his flatmate before midnight, the devil would return to Earth and take over Earth. So he's really doing it to save us all, to be honest. This could be some stuff we don't know. It was the Omen, like, he's like, you may think this man looks evil, but he's actually the saviour of mankind, and he's selflessly doing life in the penitentiary to protect us all. He's essentially modern day Jesus.
Shit, man. Johnny Cochrane called.
He got sent back, but this time on a different mission. The first time, he was sent to die for us. This time, we're sending you back to kill for us. So this reminded me of the opposite of another famous story. There's a documentary from HBO a few years ago called Dead Mommy Dearest. Indian tech guy, have you seen that?
Nope.
So this girl is forced by her mom to pretend to be retarded and also to pretend to be much younger than she is. So the girl is really in her 20s and the mom has been forcing her to pretend that she is 10 years old and developmentally challenged for her whole life. And it's also she can get like free stuff from like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, get to meet their favourite celebrities. She's like, you don't have to wait in line when you got one of these. The girl was basically a prisoner in her own home for the entirety of her life, and she ended up trying to hire someone from the internet to kill her mom, and she went into a Christian chat room and found a man who wanted to have sex with her in exchange for killing her mother. And wouldn't you know, the first guy she asked on the internet said yes. The first one, men find it hard to get matches on Tinder. Some like average, below average looking broad. You get someone to do a hit for no money down on the first request. And I think it's funny that they met in a Christian chat room where she was looking for an assassin and he was looking for some pussy. The chances of finding that on a Christian chat room. But if it's really popular, actually, everyone in there. We've got mercenaries in here, hitmen. It's a great place. It's a great cover. Reminds me of Alfred Hitchcock, Two Strangers on a Train, where two strangers on the train meet and they've both got a personal problem and they have someone they need whacked. They're like, hey, I don't know you. You don't know me. You whack my guy. I'll whack your guy off. So she ended up getting this man to come. She met up with him a few times and they sort of fell in love, quote unquote. I don't think they actually fell in love. I think she found a very mentally disturbed man and was able to sort of weaponize him. Some people say for a just cause, but they made all these assassination plans on their computers, and there's just a complete text log of the assassination plan. Hey, what day are we doing the assassination? Do you have the weapon ready for the assassination? Yes, I am on the 707 bus on the way to your town now to do the assassination. And as part of the deal of him doing the hit, he asked Gypsy Rose, okay, if I'm going to do this for you, please make unconsensual love to your mother first. And she said, no, I'd prefer if you don't do that, actually. He's like, how about you make unconsensual love with me? And then he promised her that that's what he would do. But then he went back on his word. He's a schizophrenic hitman from a chat room. He's just begged him to keep his word. So, yeah, I felt that woman, so Gypsy Rose hired someone off the internet to kill her mom. I feel this is the reverse of that. I feel this is like, she's accidentally hired her own hitman. You know, like that episode of The Shield?
Yeah. That was a sick moment in The Shield. Happens in the Breaking Bad as well, right? You know the scene with the snipers, and it's just a laser pointer.
That is quite funny, actually, the laser pointer stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen those lights in England, and I've just never thought it was a hitman ever. I was like, who am I? I'm not important enough to whack. I mean, people have pulled guns on me, but more so for their own amusement. Like, oh, you funny nigga, you want to dance? And I'm like, not really, sir. But if that's what's going to keep me alive. Some brothers would be like, nah, shoot me now, fam. And I'm like, now I got too much to live for. What kind of dance would you like, sir? I prefer it to be as least homoerotic as we can make this. How about I do the MC Hammer dance? And he's like, no, Turkish, belly. Tie your shirt up. Yeah, so one of the most interesting parts about this entire story, so the guy who she got to do the hit for her, his name was Nicholas Goodjohn, which is quite ironic because he's actually a bit of a bad John. A real bad hombre, as Donald Trump would say. So in the documentary they talk about this. Nicholas Goodjohn was once arrested for masturbating for 9 hours in a McDonald's. And you heard me right, listeners, viewers. 9 hours, sorry, except for the first time. And I was thinking about this. I was like, was he in a booth? And I looked into it. I mean, in the toilet. Was he in the toilet cubicle? He was not, because he wasn't in the toilet cubicle, because that would have been socially more acceptable.
Nah, it's still weird doing it in Mackie's toilet.
Like, yeah. But I'm saying, like, oh, what are the cubicles for? Oh, good John's in here again, wanking the day away.
Even with a cubicle, you'd be like, how desperate you need to be to whack off in a Mackie's cubicle. Sorry, in a Mackie's toilet. And then he does it in a cubicle, which is even worse. He couldn't even wait to get to the toilet.
Oh, you know, he did it in the restaurant?
Yeah, he did it on purpose. He wanted people to see, right?
Well, he had his laptop out, apparently. And, you know, there's some different bits about this that intrigue me.
Is that Wi-Fi's head down at the flat and he can't get his cakes?
Maybe.
Like, oh, fuck, I need to... Sorry.
The Wi-Fi bell. Or, one, were the staff watching him? And did they continue to serve customers? Like, people are just walking in and getting their order, and they're like, hey, you know, like, we know, actually. We called the police 8 hours and 45 minutes ago, and they've considered this to be a non-priority crime. The phone headquarters like, hey, there's a guy jacking off in the store. Can we shut down? But no, actually. You'll continue to serve. You're like, isn't this a biohazard? And they look it up in the McDonald's like rule book, and they're like, actually no, there's no rule in here about this. Let him continue. He's paid for 2 Happy Meals. Each Happy Meal buys you a guaranteed time on the premises.
Jesus.
McDonald's doesn't care who you are. As I said in the first episode, I've seen more blood spilled at McDonald's than anywhere else that I've ever been. Any establishment. It's like an ancient Indian burial ground. I've never seen semen spilled in a McDonald's though. To be fair, I have seen shit spilled at McDonald's. I went into one of them in Birmingham City Centre, and someone had just taken a crap in the middle of the floor. So not in the cubicle, not on the toilet, in any capacity. It was the furthest away they could be from the toilet, but still be in the bathroom. I'm like, is he doing this ironically? Some sort of modern day art about the state of capitalism and consumerism. Okay, they've made a TV show about this on Hulu called The Act. Okay. Nick Goodjohn was arrested for masturbating at McDonald's for 9 hours in 2013. He was charged with disorderly conduct and carrying a concealed weapon. Oh my god, guys, if you've been watching The Act on Hulu, blah blah blah, I'm skim reading all this, it's not very compelling. Okay. Viewers learned that Gypsy Rose Blanchard's boyfriend had a brief run in the law before he was arrested, charged with Gypsy's mom's murder. Okay. In 2013, he was accused of watching porn at McDonald's for nearly 9 hours. Oh, nearly 9 hours. That's not so bad. According to a report, customers spotted him with his hands down his pants and called the police. He then told the police, while he looked like he was engaging in public self-love, he was actually just scratching himself for 9 hours. Police didn't buy it. He was charged with carrying a concealed weapon. He had a large knife in his pocket. Imagine if they had confronted him. I was like, you got two choices here, and you're not going to like either of them. Sorry guys, I am a tech Neanderthal, and obviously we've switched up the visual format of the show, so I'm just learning this stuff along the way. Something else I wish to cover. So, UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones recently announced his retirement. We were all waiting to see if he was going to fight Tom Aspinall, who was the British heavyweight interim champion of the world. People were saying that Jon was ducking Tom for this period of time and was scared of the fight. A few days after Jon announced his retirement. 1 second. Oh, Indian tech guy. Oh my god, this isn't letting me exit and move. I'm not editing this out. You will deal, as women say on the internet, if you want to deal with me at my best, then you will deal with me at my worst.
Just press the laptop on the tray. I'll give you a pass because it was in full screen, but this is very intuitive. Like you know this already.
So, Indian tech guy comes at me for not knowing tech stuff. But I know general keeping us alive stuff.
I'm staying alive.
If you want to talk about some of the... I've had to stop this man holding a weight above his skull in the gym while doing tricep presses with a weight that he was struggling to hold. And if you'd have let go, he would have crushed his own skull.
I'll give you that. Yeah, it was first month at the gym, bro.
I might not know fancy computer things.
You know, life preservation stuff.
I know life preservation skills. I was reading a news story the other day that 30 people per day are arrested in England for stuff they post on the internet. And I've always said, us and the rest of the boys will all be in meme jail one day. And then we'll have to stop being friends anymore because we're from different races and are in prison.
Wait, you tell me we're going to hang out with the Indians if we go to prison. Is that how it works in the UK as well?
I think so. I think you'd still be seen as a race trainer.
Fucking hell.
And we're just like, no, we're open to anyone, but we're not recruiting Indians. You don't have the manpower that we're looking for. Actually, most Sikhs are quite tanks, actually. You're a bit small for a Sikh.
Yeah. Don't work out as much as I should.
No, you just got the better end of the bloodline.
Probably. Yeah, we're known as the warrior race in India, so.
I know. Let the side down. Run the bus into prison. An Indian tech guy is like, hey man, teach me how to fight. I'm like, it's too late. You've known me for 7 years. You've had 7 years to learn how to fight.
Yeah, I get around.
Turn around and take your trousers off.
Wait, I thought we were friends, man. What the fuck?
We're in prison now. I've got to show dominance.
First rule of prison. You're a rapist or a rapee.
Show 'em. They're getting smaller, man. It's like, afterwards, like, I'm sorry, dude. I was just keeping up appearances. He's like, you just came in me, bro.
Yeah, I'm not accepting the apology.
Come on, man.
Fuck your appearances, what the fuck? That'd be so bad. I'd be a Mindy after that.
I keep sending him little gifts. I send him a couple of apes. People are like, we consider him to be your boyfriend now anyway. Might as well just back up. You're like, no. And then he ends up having to kill a guy to earn his respect back.
Yeah.
And he was like, we only had 6 months. How one meme turned into a life sentence for one poor Indian tech guy. So yeah, Jon Jones, he's very famous for having a lot of legal troubles. In terms of this, so he's been arrested before, he's had car crashes before, run away from the scene. And this is that exact same type of crime. So he was out, I think he was on shrooms, he was with a chick, he's crashed the car, he's run away. No judgment from me here. Who doesn't like to party, Johnny boy? The woman in the car, who is not his wife, we listen, but we don't judge. I mean, we do judge, but not this. We've got unconsensual trained lovemakers on this show. That brother who went back to finish the job on the family 23 years later, you know, a little bit of shrooming and driving is probably one of the lower tier crimes we'll be discussing on this show. So John has run away from the scene of the crime. The girl who was in the car has told the cop who was driving the car, she's phoned him. John has come on the line. He's obviously tripping his balls off and starts threatening the cop.
Hello, who am I speaking to?
What's your last name, first name?
Me is PSA Lopez. And who am I speaking to?
Call from my official self. On my no, please. You might call her to see if what's your name?
PSA Lopez? With the Albuquerque Police Department?
How many guys you guys got out there with you?
Don't worry about that, man. Were you the one driving the vehicle?
My brothers detect the dreams, assistants, and cell phones.
He was the one driving the vehicle.
They split throats. They're the most evil people you'll ever meet.
John said, my brothers are the most evil people you will ever meet. I think he goes on to say, they slit people's throats. His brothers are two big famous NFL stars, Chandler Jones and Arthur Jones. I bet they're watching this tape back like, dude! So you're giving up the whole criminal enterprise we have here. Also, the fact that he's a UFC star and they're two NFL stars, they don't really need to do crime, you know what I mean? Well, I think John actually wanted to be a cop before he became a UFC star. And on one of the nights of one of his fights, he witnessed a mugging and he chased the guy along the street and took him down and got the person's stuff back. Can you imagine how terrifying it must be to have the official toughest man in the world chasing after you? I've run after a guy before who stole my backpack. I was doing a comedy show. I was in London, and a crackhead came into the venue and robbed my bag. While I was on stage, I was on the microphone telling jokes, and my eyes started to squint and look at the table where my stuff was, and I was like, he's not taking my stuff, is he? And I saw him run out the venue. I jumped off the stage, ran out of the gig during the middle of my set, and chased this dude. He turned around and saw me coming. He was like, holy crap. You know, he didn't think it would be some big, bold Negro chasing him down the street. Of all the bags, he could have robbed anyone's bag. He was just unlucky. But then he was lucky. But because that bag was full of contraband. So if he would have actually successfully gotten away with the bag, it would have actually technically been a great score for him. I was in London doing shows for a few days, wanted to visit people, wanted to party. I always travel with my own supplies. I got close to him and he threw the bag back. I caught it and then I kept chasing him down the road and I was like, I'm gonna whoop your crackhead ass when I catch you. And then I was chasing for a bit and I was like, hold on, I'm in the middle of a comedy show. I mean, they've probably moved on with the night now and probably think I've had some sort of mental episode. Like, the pressure of comedy became too much for him and he ran out. They thought, is this part of the act? Is this his last thing? Ah, the insanity of man. Yeah, I went back and I explained what had happened and got my stuff back. But now, whenever I'm at a show, unless we have like an official green room for the comedians, I always keep my bag inside with me or with the promoter, or if I've got a friend who I can trust. Before, I wanted to leave my bag with all of my technology equipment with Indian Tech Guy at a gig.
I remember this.
And he immediately tried to delegate the responsibility of looking after my bag to a much less trustworthy individual than himself.
You can say who it was.
I'm not going to say.
You can describe what it
We won't
was.
be slandering anyone on this because I don't know this person. I don't know whether they're trustworthy or not. But I know you.
There's one key feature about him that
I'm not going to slander anyone on this. But I know where you live. This other person doesn't have a home, so it would be impossible for you to track them down.
I think you're giving away its key
No,
feature.
man,
They know who we're talking about now.
They don't know what we're talking about.
How many comics do I ever
There's
have?
several actually.
You're right.
I can name loads.
You know what's funny though? The other comic that doesn't have a home is far less trustworthy as well. Like he's got.
Yeah. Well, no, man, it happens. I'm sure everyone's. I've been out of house and home when I was younger. I've not been sleeping on the street or whatever, but you know, couch surfing and stuff like that. So no judgment here. From some people won't like this podcast, but leave the judging to you at home.
No, don't judge the homeless. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah, Gabs gets him to suck him off for a vape. Oh, said your real name again.
Things don't get that bad yet. But now that people know my real name, like, you won't work a day in your life. That's a bright side of cancel culture for me.
It's like, you hate work, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
All work has been cancelled. As long as he can be somewhere racist podcasting, he's content. So this cop is on the phone to Jon Jones, and Jon has asked for the officer's name, and he is threatening him. And I'm sure, as a police officer, you must get threats on a daily basis. But when Jon Bones Jones, officially the toughest man, crowned toughest man in the world, is on the phone threatening you, oh, I bet your balls would shrivel. Mine would. If he sent me a tweet, if Jon Jones sent me a tweet, I'd be like, no, I'm sorry, Jon. Do you want me to come off the internet, John? I'll take a time out on myself. And I was like,
Well, I'll fucking time you out.
yeah. John times me out. He sent one of his hitmen. I was like, an unknown lower-ranked British comedian podcaster made a joke about your arrest. Let's kill him and his Indian tech support.
No, it has nothing to do with this.
I just want to let you know, John, he wrote this bit, actually.
I'm not the patsy for this, man.
If we happen to cross paths, I'll be happy to direct you to his home. I was thinking about this funny story about, I used to live in a very rough building in Birmingham, and it was sort of a HMO type building, people coming in and out, people who were recently homeless, out of prison, out of mental institutions, etc. I wasn't there for any of those reasons. I was just in there, waiting there when I was getting a new job to move to a different place. And there were police raids in this building all of the time. And I used to leave the front door to my place slightly ajar when I was in, because my friends would be coming in and out to see me. And one day, we were hanging out, and the police busted in through the door and were screaming at me and my friends. We were just stoned playing Tekken. And the police were like, "Where's the girl? Where's the girl?" I was like, "What girl? What are you talking about? We haven't moved for 6 hours." And it turned out they were looking for a guy on the opposite side of the building who was with a girl who was underage, who had like escaped from social services. So he was a nuts, basically. And I'd seen this guy in the building, and I thought he was younger than he was, and just developmentally disabled, which he very well might be. You know, still can't be shagging the kids in the care homes. And it was a white dude, for anyone who's curious. In this instance, it was a white dude. You know?
There's all kinds, to be fair.
There's all kinds. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. But the cops rushed in, and they were looking for this guy, and he was screaming at me and my friends, "Where's the girl?" They didn't actually have guns, I don't know why.
Well, no, but still, it makes sense, because they thought you guys were nonsense.
Yeah.
So they got free game, they could fucking beat the crap out of you and shit.
We were like, what the hell? It's just three, like, black potheads and a mixed race guy and an Indian guy playing Tekken, man. We don't know trouble. And they described the guy who they were after to me. And as he was a pedophile, I had never snitched so fast in my life. I'm like, "Oh, you want him? He lives at the opposite side of the building. You need to come out of here, go around to the other exit, come up to this floor, and go over to the other side. So you are in the right building."
I'll walk you down, guys. I'll help you out.
Do you want me to go? I'll make a citizen's arrest right now.
Hey, Mark, come out here for a sec. You piece of shit.
I think his name was Kieran, actually. We'll play a little bit of Jon Jones, and then we'll head into the next tale.
I hope it's KFC.
It's Jon Jones.
Jon Jones?
Mm-hmm. He was the one driving the vehicle.
But they don't waste their patience with just killing you on petty crimes. But they definitely listen to conversations like this, and some of them are bored enough to kill you. Just kill you. Because I'm like, when I teach me, I'll be a man when I wake up.
So, listen to me, man. He's making threats, and if he's making threats, I gotta call an officer out here.
Call him.
Well, guess what, dude? You won't be the first guy this year that I threatened. It's gonna die. You'll be the second one.
And who am I speaking to? You, Jon Jones?
What? If you're untraceable, you'll be surprised how bored we can be.
As Danny Dyer would famously say, I would be absolutely bricking it, mate. Because, you know as well, I'm like over the other side of the world, and I'm scared. You know what I mean? Like, he's somewhere by this car. I was like, he's somewhere in the vicinity. He could be looking at that cop right now. From somewhere.
On that street.
He could be on that street in a bush.
He's at the T-Mobile store.
He's at the T-Mobile store.
You press space, he will start playing. Or are you trying to get off it? Oh, okay.
Oh, back to the Good John story, actually. I should have read this. This sounds way more compelling than the parts of the article. Apparently, Mr. Good John was also into necrophilia. Oh, yeah, the woman who he was hired to assassinate, he made unconsensual love to her recently deceased person. Gypsy said, I made a deal with him. I'd let him unconsensual me, then he wouldn't do that to my mum. But then he went back on his word and said, like, this trustworthy schizophrenic assassin from the internet.
Yeah, man, it is crazy. You can never trust a schizophrenic assassin.
I know.
Who can you trust?
Okay, this next story, I believe Indian Tech Guy. So it was KFC's 60th anniversary in Jamaica. They were giving out some free chicken for the people there. Indian Tech Guy is a man who is down with the culture.
Only for free chicken, but none raw.
Today, Wednesday, June 18, 2025, marks the 50th anniversary of KFC Jamaica. Well, to commemorate the occasion, they are deciding to give fans a free meal deal with every purchase of a big deal. Now, this has caused frenzy all across the island because people seem to really love KFC.
Yeah.
Frenzy!
Oh my God.
From Streets of Rage.
It's the purge.
I cut a man's eye out for the last chicken pop. He said you can just take it. I remember a few years ago when KFC ran out of chicken and people were having a mental breakdowns here in Birmingham. They interviewed one single mother on the news and she said, KFC have run out of chicken. What are my children supposed to eat?
It's like, not KFC, even though they got chicken. Don't.
Anything else in the world, to be honest. I'm not above a KFC, but the fact that it was newsworthy for this woman, like, I wonder if she asked to get on the news, like, I'm calling up the news station, son. A local fat woman is angered. I've walked into a KFC.
That's so funny. It's like, she is saying, like, what are my children going to eat? But what she means really is like, what am I going to eat? She's really concerned about her own dietary needs, really. She's forcing the kids to eat KFC so she can have KFC.
How long on the out here?
Well, from about 9:30 a.m. Yeah, we're there from about 9:30. All right, me never there at 9:30 a.m. From about 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. Yeah. When you come out, yeah,
me there from 6 o'clock. From 6 o'clock, me not beat. Me there from 6 o'clock, I know me can't get through, bro. Me can't.
Came from 6 a.m. It's the earliest he's ever gotten up in his life. I don't know this man. He could be a very hard-working gentleman.
Get through. What is Big Deal Wednesdays? Oh no.
Big Deal Wednesdays is the vibe that we're having because we're getting free KFC chicken, a once in a lifetime thing. So have a celebration.
Once in a lifetime, does a man get free chicken from KFC?
Me never get none free from KFC yet.
The free chicken!
Free chicken!
No.
That's how it is.
I ain't mad at them. I would take some free chicken, but I hate waiting in lines. So I can imagine the line for this. It was a frenzy.
You see me? So it's because of out here wait so long, we decided we're going to just go and create a vibe. Because we could have out here miserable be a war. We alone now.
Yeah.
A P war going.
I'm going to skip to the song.
Yeah, skip to the song. That's my favorite part.
Represent all over the world. Jamaica right just so we in here. Jamaica love. We wanna feel Jamaica. I wanna represent the people of Jamaica. 50 years KFC, I celebrate Jamaica. Hey, Jamaica love. KFC, Jamaica love. I wanna represent the people of Jamaica. Representing KFC. Representing your man.
I think Indian tech guy knows where his next holiday is going to be.
KFC Jamaica love.
He's going specifically to KFC Jamaica. He's heard it's a wonderful place from all of the locals. On to our next story. This is very Indian tech guy related. Our email address has just showed up there. Should we edit that out afterwards?
The email addresses?
Yeah.
Nah, that's fine. What, are they going to sign us up to fucking porn mailing lists? Why am I giving them ideas as well? That's bad. Yeah, do edit this out.
Please send Indian tech guy all of your child.
No, don't do that. Jesus Christ.
That would be the darkest. I said, one day when I'm doing a show in the future, I want to get people to dick bomb his phone. And what I meant by that is like, I want to give his number out to the audience and ask as many audience members as possible to send him pictures of dicks. And every second he's getting a notification.
No, I don't want that either, man. That's fucking sucks.
With a dick pic every couple of seconds. It's like, the dicks are driving me insane.
I don't think there'd be enough audience members to agree to that.
You're willing to do that?
No.
I think if we build the audience for some people won't like this podcast, I think the kind of people who would like this podcast will be down for a dick bomb. Don't worry, he's not going to call the cops on you. I certify that. I mean, maybe if you send him the CP, I'm probably getting to call the cops for that.
Yeah, I'm not taking the fall for that. Fucking hell. Can you send someone to jail for sending a dick pic? I don't think that's how it works.
Well, I think women can call the cops on a man for doing it, yeah. So I imagine man on man, but don't think about snitching on the audience.
Wait a second. So wait, if I'm a woman and I get sent a dick pic, I can get the guy sent to jail for sending me a dick pic.
That is correct. Okay. So this next story: Russian man almost dies after drilling chip inside brain at home. Trying to do brain surgery at home, basically. A computer chip. Indian tech guy loves this kind of stuff. If he could merge his consciousness with a computer and give up the need for a physical body, he would do so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame the guy. Like, who could have guessed a lobotomy can go wrong?
Well, it wasn't intended to be a lobotomy. It was supposed to be neurosurgery, but it became a lobotomy.
No, it was a self-lobotomy from the very beginning. The moment he had the idea, he thought of the lobotomy on his own.
I saw this, I was like, that nigga tried to turn himself into RoboCop.
No, he tried to lobotomize himself.
He turns himself into Jack Nicholson at the end of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, just sitting there rocking back and forth. Apparently, the chip was an attempt to control his dreams and be able to move within your dreams. a bit like Lawnmower Man, if anyone's ever seen that sci-fi classic from the 90s. Yeah, unfortunately, this was a failed experiment. But
who could have guessed?
I understand people taking extreme risks to save money. I once let someone, Indian Tech Guy will verify this, I once let someone do home surgery on my eye.
True, but it was a former qualified nurse, right?
It was a qualified person.
Yeah. So that's... You didn't do your own eye surgery.
I didn't do my consider
Which,
it, though.
by the way, if this guy did his own eye surgery, that's better than fucking lobotomizing yourself.
I considered it. So I had a cyst on the inside of my eyelid here at the corner, and it was growing, and I was starting to look like, feel like some kind of freak. And I went to the doctors, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, that's cosmetic. We won't do that for free on the NHS." And I was like, "But I look like a monster." So they said you got to have it done privately. I phoned up a private place. I said, "How much for me to have this done?" And they said, £750. I said, "Okay, I'm going to see what else is out there. I'll call you back." I'm like, "What do you mean see what else is out there? This is the surgery place for that surgery." And I was like, yeah, I'm going to ask around.
Ghetto version.
I looked it up online, and I considered trying it myself, but I couldn't bring myself to put the scalpel to my eyelid. Which, maybe that's intelligence, or maybe that's cowardice, who knows?
It's human instinct. Yeah.
So then a relative of mine, their partner is a retired nurse, and they've done this type of procedure before. So they got me to buy the stuff off of Amazon, and all it cost me was £25 to get, the sort of instruments I needed, the cleaning materials, etc. I was lying on the bed, and the only difference between doing it in the hospital and doing it in the house was I didn't have any anaesthetic. I think in the hospital they give me like a local anaesthetic to numb it, but in this scenario, okay, the battery's going to die soon, so we're going to wrap up, but I felt her cutting into my eyelid and downwards into my skull. And all I could think about that whole time was, you are saving £725, baby!
But a quick question before you end the pride. Would you let a qualified nurse perform brains?
No, but I've seen someone do that. Yes, I don't think this is something you can pick up by watching.
I've seen it on a TV show.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up. I did have more stuff to cover, but then we'll come back. There's gonna be another episode in a few days, and then we'll cover the rest of the stuff. So if you did enjoy episode 2 of Some People Won't Like This podcast, please give it a follow, subscribe, share, comment on any of the stories you found interesting. This week I'm performing at Birmingham Glee Club on the Friday night. If anyone wants to come and see that, there'll be more news about shows that have upcoming. And then we'll see you guys on episode 3 in a few days. Also as well, this podcast as well as YouTube, it's going to be going up on Spotify now. So, peace and love from myself and Indian Tech Guy.
Safe, guys.
No heroes out here. No heroes out here. Check. Might be the craziest if I ain't the best. Laughing in your face, I'm the joker in the deck. Might be the craziest if I ain't the best. I'm the joker in the deck. Joker in the deck. Rap fiends, smoking bud that's tangerine. Grew up by the alleys where they never hear you scream.